It's about creating a successful ecosystem and being a value-added party to that. They can push us forward in improving and challenging our solutions and products in order to increase the benefits of our clients. So for ABB is a technology company, and we operate in fast-moving markets, and we are focusing on and growing with the macro trends that we see, and those include the electrification of society, urbanization, and digitalization. And through this and doing this, it's important for us to be in the right type of networks. The benefits of being in the network is that it's going to be stronger than a single party, right? So for us, open innovation is about creating and being parts of these types of networks. We see open innovation integrating and cooperating with startups, scale-ups, organizations outside of the ABB organization as a key part of this. And we have set up a number of both operational and also culturally driven initiatives in order to make this happen and to materialize. I can give you some examples of what we actually do within ABB in order to create these types of networks and operate within them. We set up an innovation or a collaboration unit for ABB in 2016. The focus of that unit is to engage with, identify, and attract startups and scale-ups that want to collaborate with ABB. And we do this in a very efficient and structured manner, and we attract startup companies from outside of ABB from different parts of the world. So we have a high number of members, also alumni members who have operated together with ABB that represent all the continents all over across the globe. We also have my team. It's a venture capital division of ABB Electrification, which operates globally to identify, invest in, and work together with companies that are of strategic or might be of strategic value to ABB in the future. And as of now, actually, we are just about to launch our first hackathon in which we have identified 3 areas and 3 challenges for startups to address and to solve for ABB. I mean, for us, in order to create an open innovation and an ecosystem, which is more than its parts, where the best properties and the knowledge and expertise of each individual party in the ecosystem to come to its rights, we have to reduce friction, right? And we need to lower thresholds. We need to have efficient procedures, processes in order to engage with these startups and companies from outside of ABB. So we have a lot of focus on reducing friction through increasing trust, increasing collaborations and conversations with partners, people, organizations from outside ABB in order to make the engagement as frictionless and efficient as possible. Because you create the value, right? It's the same thing that, well, you want to import the most efficiently produced stuff from China, then you have to take away importing hurdles. It's the same thing when you want to create an efficient ecosystem. So we are focusing a lot of learning as we go. In a way, you could argue that our initiatives in the open innovation area is also a startup, because we're also learning. It was just some years ago that we actually started. I mean, we created Synelip, right? Our collaboration unit. The ventures team division was created this autumn. Although we have been in the venture area for the past decade within ABB. So we have qualitative and quantitative KPIs. the quantitative ones are the easiest, right? Because those are very easily measured and reported. Then you have the quantitative ones, and those are in the terms of knowledge extraction, it's speed to market, it's how you think about innovation and how you actually interact outside and inside of your organization. When it comes to the quantitative matters, we have, for instance, we measure the number of collaborations. Those exceed actually 100, and they have been executed for the past 2.5 years. And we see an exponential increase in how we collaborate with startups and with the speed in which we do that. We also, of course, have financial measures when it comes to engagement through investments, through collaborations, and the equity stakes that ABB is putting forward into this interaction with the startups. And we can also see that with the speed in which we interact is increasing. So, on average, in the beginning, when we collaborated with the organizations outside of ABB, it took from interaction to collaboration 6 months. But in the successful cases, which I would argue are the most and the majority of these, the project number 2 of these startups took only 6 weeks to realize. There is an inherent difference between a startup, a scale up, and an incumbent such as ABB, especially so with an incumbent that is publicly listed. So ABB is measured and tracked on a quarterly basis and on annual reports and on annual results. We operate with a certain frequency, right? A clock frequency, which is a bit slower. We have processes, procedures put in place. We have a big ship and a mothership to master. If you put that in comparison in relation to the startup, they have a much longer horizon, a much longer view on what it is that they want to accomplish. So they might think in the terms of 5, 7, 10 years down the road where they are going, but they act with a clock frequency that is of a much higher speed. So a week in the life of a startup is an extremely long time, less so for an incumbent such as ABB because we operate under different circumstances, right? So we need to overcome the expectations. We need to have intermediates within ABB, right, to onboard companies and to manage expectations. That's one. And we have to do it in a non-siloed manner. We need to open our cards and act as a contributor in this network. I always say when we do investment that there is no win-lose scenario. There's only a win-win scenario or a lose-lose. Either we realize the strategic values that we see and that we talk about and that we agree upon with the startup, or we don't. So in such a scenario where we realize the strategic values, there is a definite win-win situation, right? So that's always what we want to accomplish. And I think the basis of this is the trust thing and the open communication thing, and that you have an attitude of not what's in it for me, but what do I bring to the table and how can I pay it forward. So being the successful party in this is about creating and being part of the successful network. ABB and ABB Electrifications, as I said before, are operating on very fast-growing markets with an underlying growth. We see the digitalization coming forward in everything that we do. We see the increase of electrification in everything from cities to buildings to manufacturing. So we have a very strong sense of moving towards increased digital components in our offerings. And leveraging on these macro trends, which in the end are translated into increased sustainability and increased living standards for the society as a whole. So the identified areas in which we want to increase our value to customers through products and solutions we find in these large macro trends, if you want. That can be translated then to increase sustainability and cost efficiency and such. Yeah, those are our main, and within those segments we see then specific product lines, specific focus areas such as smart buildings, EVs, so electrical vehicles, and infrastructure around that, data center applications and such, where we see massive opportunities for increased efficiency and cost reduction. I think this is a great initiative because it puts the focus on what I believe will be even more apparent in the future, that siloed internal focus and thinking will be a thing of the past, and that open innovation we will see increase across the line, across startups and scale ups and incumbents.